What's up everyone? This time what I want to do is to correct some thing from the last video. Here we need to have password one, that's all. Okay, okay, now what we need to do, I want to convert those functions. So from what you can see, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4 functions, but we can create a single class that is going to handle these 4 functions, and I'm going to provide you how we can do it. From what you can see, we need to provide the API view of post, put, etc. I told you in the last video why we are doing this. What we can do is just to import here API view. This is a class and we are going to inherit from it. So this is going to give us 4 functions: post, put, up, put, delete, get. So we are not going to need to add the API view because this is going to be based on the name of the function. Okay, so let's create a class user view. It's just a class, it's inherited from the API view, and because we inherit from the API view, we can create 4 functions: def post, put, which needs the PK, get, and the get can be by ID or not, and we're going to show you how you can do it. Okay, pass and pass, and let's create them and delete. Okay, let's create the easiest one, so the delete. So if we want to call the delete function, we just need to get exactly what we did here. So let me just go for the delete. We haven't made delete user. We made the delete node. No, we haven't. I'm going to make the function firstly. So this is going to be an API view of delete. I need to say def delete user, which is getting the PK, so the ID of the user that we want to delete. And you just need to say user equal to users dot object dot get ID equal to PK and user dot delete, and then return a response. This is how we delete a user. Now, let's copy these 2 lines and add it right here. So try except object does not exist, and maybe another except. So we are going to try to get the user by ID and then delete it. If the object does not exist, so maybe we got a bad ID, we can return a response. If we encounter another error, we can return another response. So we can just say, if everything was fine, just return data success. If object does not exist, let me just get this error, ID not found. And if you have an exception, we can get this one. So copy those 2 and paste those here. So like this. So we need to have the indentation. So we created the function delete. Let's create the get one. The get one is going to be based off ID or not. So the ID can be none. So we can call the function get without providing an actual ID. And if we didn't provided an ID, it means that we want just to get all of the users. So we can go here to get users, copy this one, delete the function, go up and paste it right here. Make sure that the indentation is good. That's all. Let me just correct the indentation a bit. like that. Else, if we offered a PK, it means that we want to get a specific user based off ID. So copy this one, delete it because we don't need it anymore, and paste it right here, like that. Again, make sure that the indentation is fine. If you want to make a put request, you just need to copy this schema, copy this one, go right into the put, paste it, delete the function, delete the API view, copy the schema, add it above the put, so the schema is above the put, and in the put we just have the content. So the schema, the function put, and what is going to do is going to get the data, get the user, and update it. And now for the post, the same, copy the schema, add it above the post, and copy the content of the function. Delete the create function because we're not going to use it anymore, because we are going to use the class, and just make sure that the indentation is fine. Okay, so now we created the class. What can the class do? So the class is inherited from the API view, so it's going to have the post function, which accepts the just post type of content, so we can just create in this function, the put, the get, and the delete. And in the URLs, now we don't have anymore this create user, we don't have the create user, we don't have the update user, we don't have the get user, we don't have the update user, and we only have path users, and then a slash and views, or how we called it, we called it users views dot, and the class is user. We just go here and copy the name of the class, user view. And because it's a class, we need to say as view. Name, I don't know, let's just give user CRUD. And now we have a path named users, which is going to call from the views, from the users app, the class user view as view. Okay, and this is going to know which function to request based off the request. We need to delete this method because it is not needed into the class for the Swagger auto schema. Run the server. If I open the server, hit a refresh, now what we can see users, get, post, put, delete. So we have the URL users, which is going to call this function, this class, which is going to provide 4 functions: a post, a put, a get, and a delete. And let's call one of them. So the users one, it should have a parameter. So in the URLs, we can say that we can use a PK. Now all of them are going to have an ID, but it's optional, as I've said before. What we can do is we can make it optional, because the post doesn't need a PK, so we are going to make it optional, so it can be none. For the put, it shouldn't be none, and for the get, it can be. We can have a workaround. We can just paste this one twice, and one is going to be using the ID and one is not going to be using the ID. Okay, and in the view now you can just delete the ID from the ones that doesn't require it. Let's just give it a shot again. If I refresh this one, now we can see a lot more functions. So we have the get users. If I hit try it out, execute, it's going to give me all the users. What happened? So it went to the URL users, right here, users, and it shows from the users ID and the users. And because we didn't provide it an ID, so if we would have provided an ID, it would have chose this one, but we didn't provide an ID, so it went into this one, went to the class, and what was the request? The request was a get. Sorry for my brain damage. So it was a get request without an ID, so without a PK. So it searched in the class for the get, and it found the get. So it's just the only get that it found, so it ran the function, and the PK was none, so we didn't provide the PK. So it ran the if. It get all the users, it serialized them, and it returned them. If we choose to provide an ID, so we go down to this one and provide an ID, try it out, provide an ID, 1, execute, you can see the path. So it went to localhost users 1. So it went to localhost users 1. So it provided an ID. Then it went again to this class and it searched for the get function. So again, it went down, it found the get, and from the none, it added the ID that we provided. So the PK was not on, it went into the else, it get the user by ID, serialize it, and return it. Let's try to make a post. So the post user. If we go to the post, try it out, username, random, try class, just some random stuff, add a random password, hit a post, execute, and it was successful. And you can see it right here, it got created. What happened? Well, it went into the URL localhost users. So it searched for localhost of the localhost and the path users without an ID. So it went here, called the class. So the both paths are calling the same class. It called this class and it searched for the post function. And it went here, it got the data that we provided, and it embedded create. If we go and try a put with an ID, so we need to try it out. This one with the ID, try it out, provide the ID. So let's see, let's just get this user is having the ID 8. So copy, just create one, the name, update. Hit and execute, and it gave me that the password is required. We shouldn't require the password in the put. Let me just delete it from here. The passwords don't require, and the problem is that we are using the same serializer for the put. User serializer update, and the password is not going to be here. So we are going to use the other serializer, which is going to update only the username and the email. So we can copy this one and add it here like this, but you need to import it. Okay. Now let's try it again. So where's the Swagger? Never mind, let's just open the server again, paste it right here, go again to the Swagger, And if we go to the put users, try it out. Let's copy again, just create one username, update, execute, and it's telling us that it's missing the PK because we need to call the update with the ID. This one. Like this. So we need to update the one with the ID of 8. You can see the ID in the URL right here. Hit execute, and it says success. If I refresh this one, you can see that it got updated. What happened? Well, we called the, you can see the path, localhost, users, and ID, and it provided the body. So it went to the URLs, searched for the localhost of the backend, and for the users with an ID, because we provided ID. So it went for this one. It went into the users view class, and it was searching for the put. So it went to the put. Why? Because it was a put request. Okay. It got the data, it got the PK, so it queried the user, it updated, and it returned the response. Success. And that's how we created a class which is going to have only 2 URLs, not 4. And why we are using classes? Because when things are getting more complex, they are going to help us more, trust me. And it's a more nicer way of writing the code to be more cleaner. So you just have 4 functions, write it to the user view class. Which function is going to be called is going to be depending of the path, so if we provide an ID or not. And if we provide an ID, let's say that we hit get without the ID, we're going to choose this one, and it's going to search for the get, because it didn't provide an ID, it's going just to get all the users. If we would have went for the users and ID, would have chosen this one. Again, was searching for the get, but this one is gave an IPK, so it's not going to be none. It's going to get the user based off ID. If you want to make a post request, again, we don't provide the ID, you just give the body as we did in the Swagger, so the data. So it's going to choose this one, it's going to search for the post, and it's going to append this function. That's all. Hope you understand it. Have a nice day.